This is Wakeangel2K1's, bringing you the top 10 customs of 2014, as chosen by you, the fans, in the poll, between deviantart and YouTube, and those are really the only two sources that I got votes from. So, yeah, here we go. Let's count down my top 10 best customs chosen by you guys. Number 10, Tikal. Ah, yes, Tikal. This was a figure that a lot of people have been wanting me to make for quite a while, and I was really sort of looking forward to doing it myself, but, never really had the time. That was until Davin commissioned me to make one for him, and when I did, there was actually a little bit of controversy over the fact that I had sculpted her with toes. This is because it turns out that it's actually legitimately part of the Sonic the Hedgehog art style to not have toes on the characters. This was weird to me because I had grown up reading the comic book where the characters had been drawn with toes on whatever occasions you didn't see them wearing shoes. And it turns out that Tikal has been portrayed in both forms, both with toes and without toes. Although I did say it was because of the laziness of the artist for the Sonic X anime, and that really wasn't fair to them. So yeah, Tikal. This one had toes, but she very easily could not have. But the commissioner wanted them, that's why they're there. Number 9, Honey the Cat. Ah, yes, Honey the Cat. Another commission for Davin. This isn't the first Honey that I've made, and I doubt it'll be my last, but it was the first one that I made since Honey was officially made a playable character in the re-release of Sonic the Fighters on the Xbox Live Arcade. I like how Honey is almost an Amy Rose repaint. It's due to the similarities in their 3D character models, although she does require quite a bit of sculpt work for her hair and sanding on her shoes to make them pointier. She's a really nice looking character, and I like her as much as you guys do. Number 8, the Zelda DLC Sonic. Ah yes, this one was one of my personal projects. One of the things special about it is how quickly it came together. Almost as soon as I found out about the DLC itself for Sonic Lost World, I knew that I would have to make it. So in only a couple of days, I had taken one of my extra Sonic figures, sculpted on the hat and the little Link tunic, gave him a pair of Knuckles boots, and there we go. This thing is such a great thing to me. This personally makes me so happy. You have no idea how happy I was to see this particular crossover take place. It's like combining two of my favorite things ever, because Link and the Legend of Zelda franchise is my second favorite video game franchise after Sonic itself. So seeing them put together like this is just so much joy. Yes. I really should take some pictures of him with the official World of Nintendo Link figure, although I'm wondering if the Ocarina of Time version coming out later this year will match even better. Oh well. So, Zelda DLC Link, Sonic. That's, a lot of words there. Yeah, let's move on to the next one. Number 7, Ray the Squirrel. Specifically the second one I made this year. Another commission for Davin. Man, his customs got really popular. This Ray the Squirrel was made to more closely resemble Ray's classic appearance, but with modern proportions. So, it's made out of a modern Tails figure using Sonic's head. I had to sculpt on new ears, the hair, and new brow ridges because Ray seemed to have this different shape to the brow ridge. Although he does look a little bit angry from most angles. It's just the way that Sonic's eyes are shaped. I tried to make them look a little bit rounder with those brow ridges, but the stern expression is still there. But yeah, this was the second Ray the Squirrel figure I made, and it's the one that you guys liked better. So there we go. Number 6, Cream and Cheese. This one isn't a commission for Davin. It was for Spike Hedgeline 8. Cream and Cheese. Oh gosh, these two are so adorable. This isn't the first cream I've made, but it still used the same recipe. The Charmy the Bee as the base, with a little accompanying cheese figure made out of, the original polymer clay that I used to use, because it came pre-colored, so I wouldn't have to paint the little thing. Yeah, she's just so adorable. It's a shame that I had to sacrifice the waist joint to sculpt her dress on, but I think the look is fine. I'm always so proud of the way that little Cream comes out. I feel like if Jazzwares were to ever actually make one, it would pretty much look just like this. So yeah, that's Cream the rabbit. Oh, isn't she just the cutest little thing? Number 5, the Freedom Fighters. Okay, this one is a little bit of a controversial choice because out of these 4, only one of them, Rotor, was actually made in 2014. Everything else was made in December of 2013. But I decided to include it because, this was a whole set, and I should count the commission as a whole, like, which was sold as a set in 2014. I don't have any individual pictures of Sally, but that Antoine, this is the only picture of him solo. I really like the way his sword came out with the modified hilt, so that the cocktail toothpick could fit in his hand. But the shining gem of this quartet has to be that bunny. This is my favorite bunny that I've ever made. She was a star of a very in-depth video from the beginning of the year. You can check it out in the Making Custom Step-by-Step playlist, which is pretty much made for her, which shows in detail exactly how I modify figures from beginning to end. I also love that she has an actual braid. Instead of just a cutout of a braid, she has an actual one, which I made by braiding foam material together. So yeah, my favorite bunny figure in my first commission of 2014. So I'm glad that you guys liked it as much as I did. Oh, and by the way, this was a commission for Caleb. Forgot to mention that. Commission for Caleb. Number 4, Mephiles the Dark. Yes, another commission for Spike Hedgelion 8. Mephiles the Dark. This is the 3rd time I made the character, and my best by quite a margin in my opinion. He has to use the stand because his little game accurate feet don't actually have enough surface area to stand on. But my favorite part of this particular commission was the paint job. I had used an intentionally frayed paintbrush along with some partially congealed paint to create that rough, stony texture that actually is part of his character design. And a couple of fans said that it looked scratchy. I don't understand why people would think that I wouldn't notice such a scratchy looking paint job unless it was completely intentional, but that's just how people on the internet share their opinions. Yeah, this Mephiles, though, he really does look pretty scary with that sickly blue color and those red eyes that are so piercing. This is one of those customs that when finished, you just have to set them up with the official figures to get a little recreation from the game they're in. I mean, that is just so cool. And here's a cameo from the Rouge figure that I was hoping would place on the list, but actually didn't make it. Sorry for the spoilers. Number 3, Scourge. Commission for Jacob. This is Scourge. This is the character that was the very first character I ever made as a custom action figure, and the one that has been made the most times since then. I think only Princess Sally rivals him for the sheer number of times that I've been requested to make him. This is the only entry for Scourge this year, but I think he's a really good example, made from that Freerider Sonic, so he comes with the big shoes already, and the shades. He's a really great Scourge figure in my opinion. He has a little rubber jacket, he has the painted on sleeves with the flame jobs on the shoulders. I'd actually like to know if you can color leather that way, but who knows, he's Scourge. It's probably a pleather jacket because he's such a poser. Oh dear, I'm gonna get mauled by angry Scourge fans now, aren't I? I think Scourge is awesome, and I'm pretty sure that this is not gonna be my last one by far. Number 2, Shard. I like how these guys have that simple monosyllabic name starting with an S. It's so cool sounding. This was a commission for Scourge 1985. Hurdy. Scourge commission Shard. Haha. Yeah, Shard the Metal. Oh my god, I love this character so much. And this time I actually had a full Metal Sonic figure to make the custom. Well, a full Metal Sonic figure minus an arm, but since he has an asymmetrical design with that arm cannon anyway, it pretty much works with the substitute arm. Um, yeah, this is great. Scourge wanted him to be in the battle mode with the red gem and eyes, and it actually was a nice complementary piece to the one I had made earlier in the year with, well, was it earlier in the year or the previous year? Yeah, it had to be the previous year. Yeah, so, yeah, this is actually the second time I made Shard, although it's the third, because I also made a Shard Superposer, but the Superposer didn't make the list. Spoilers. So yeah, this is Shard the Metal, to be specific, and he is pretty freaking sweet. Before I go to the number 1 spot, I want to give an honorable mention to Fiona, who was commissioned by Jacob. She got as many votes as the characters in the 10, 9, and 8 slots, but due to an act of chronology, she didn't actually make the list. But since she got as many votes, I think that I should still include her on the list because this is another custom that people have been wanting me to make for a long time. It's of her in her good guy suit, and I'm pretty sure most of the people wanted to see her in her bad girl suit after she became Scourge's girlfriend. But, you know, this is the original Fiona. It's how she looked for actually the majority of her run in the comic. Well, maybe not the majority of the run in the comic, but her time spent as a freedom fighter. So yeah, Fiona. She's a really great character with a long backstory, and I'm happy that I was commissioned to make her this year. And the number 1 spot, the Roboticized Masters. Although I'm sure this is a surprise to nobody. The Roboticized Masters, my opus for the year 2014. I made the first one in February and finally completed the project in August. This was months of work between commissions, but I was happy to make every single one of them. Let's give a quick word for each individual one. By the way, all 10 of them are in this one entry because I figured if I put them all up individually, this list would have just been the Roboticized Masters, a countdown of them. And I wanted to give every other custom I made this year a chance. As you recall, I made the Roboticized Masters roughly in the same order that they appeared in the comic. But I'm sorry to say that Tailsman has fallen into a state of disrepair. I know it doesn't show in this photograph, but his paint has actually faded quite a bit, and some cracks have formed on his arms and legs, which I do not like. Before I sell these figures, I'm going to dismantle this figure and remake him with my epoxy sculpt. Because as the first Roboticized Master, he's the only one that actually used the Super Sculpey, which I have since passed on because it's too fragile to make moving parts. Knuckles Man was pretty cool. He actually didn't require a lot of sculpting, except for his legs. The quirkiest thing about this figure was that one of the legs was longer than the other by like 1/8 of an inch, giving the figure a notable lean when you stand him up straight. That's not my fault, folks. That was Jazzwares. But yeah, when you have him in action pose, it really becomes irrelevant. I love Rose Woman. She's the one Roboticized Master that came out with the I don't have hands disease. You know, the ones that affect characters like Needleman, Sparkman, Crashman. You know, there's usually a robot master that doesn't have hands, and the fact that Amy ended up being that robot master just makes me chuckle every time I look at her. Shadow Man. This was the Roboticized Master that actually used the fewest components of the figure that he's based on. He only uses Shadow's arms and torso. The legs come from Wave and the head is Metal Sonic's. He had the biggest frame change when he got roboticized in the comic, so it kind of makes sense that when his toy gets made, it actually uses the fewest of Shadow's actual components. Silverman! He's actually the one that required the most sculpting of the Roboticized Masters for his gigantic forehead frond, which was changed from 5 points to 3 when he got roboticized. Some of the frond actually is still under there, if for no other reason than to help it maintain its shape while it was curing. But yeah, this was the biggest sculpt job of the Roboticized Masters. Blaze Woman, the Roboticized Master of my next favorite character after Sonic himself. I really like the way that she came out. A little bit of a obvious sculpt on her head appears that I wish I could have smoothed out a little more. but every time I rubbed it, I just kept on taking material off. It's really thin at the point, but it still creates a noticeable seam in photographs. I do like the flame job on her tail, though. I gave it that really cool paint job, but now I'm just patting my own back. Vector Man, the source of one of my favorite in-jokes in the entire comic run. Vector Man. For some reason, that makes me think of a trash collector. That made me chuckle so much. Actually, it didn't make me chuckle so much as have an absolute fangasm. But yeah, Vector Man. Fun fact about this guy, the shoulder pads come from a Fox Sports Robot keychain. I never thought I would use something like that. SBO Man. Oh, SBO Man. This guy. I don't know what's wrong with this guy, but whenever I try to stand him up straight, he just starts to slump over. I think the joints for the base figure were too loose on the hips. So when I added a little extra bit of weight to his skull to make the seam for the robot head, he kind of said, nope. But when you bend his knees and put him in a ninja action pose, he can totally hold that. So I guess he just doesn't like to stand straight. He's like, I'm a ninja. I should be posed like a ninja. Yeah, and I actually specifically used the original SBO instead of the one with the improved articulation because I like the gesturing hand better. Charmy Man, the littlest roboticized master. Yeah, he's a little bee with jets coming out of his back. I mean, what's not to like about this little dude? Yay, Charmy Man. I really don't have anything to say about him. He's an adorable little evil robot bee. I mean, what's not to like about it? And finally, Rouge Woman. She only appeared in distance shots in like 4 panels of the comic, and in order to get a proper reference for her, I had to look up a commission that Ben Bates had on his DeviantArt channel. Page, that is. YouTube his channels, DeviantArt his pages. And she was the only roboticized master that Jazzwares hadn't made the figure of the actual character yet. So, she's actually pretty much a wave figure, repurposed. Just like my Rouge figure is. Yeah, I like how she has craft foam for her ears and wings, so I don't have to worry about them chipping or breaking. And she has a little buster hand and hearts, and she's pink and white and purple, and she's a fan favorite. I mean, a lot of people have reported that this is their favorite, and I've already got commissions to make her as a single. So, this won't be the last Rouge Woman that we see. Well, that's it for my top 10 favorite customs of 2014, as decided by you. And I'm gonna get started making customs again, so I'll have some stuff to populate 2015. I'm almost done with 2 of them right now as we speak. And, yeah, let's look forward to a whole bunch more customs this year. This is Wakeangel2K1's, and thank you all for your fandom.